So the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2s are mostly just a cosmetic change from the PX7s. The PX7 S2s look better, they feel better, and they fit better too. Now personally, I enjoy the PX7 S2's premium build quality and elegant design, but the PX7 S2s definitely aren't for everyone. But today we're going to compare the PX7 S2s to the AirPods Max, which unfortunately are a lot more popular than I like, and I really feel that's a shame. Now first, there's pricing. The PX7 S2s retail for $400, which is pretty expensive for a pair of ANC headphones, but they're not as expensive as the AirPods Max, which have a retail price of $550. And with these, if you want the complete package that you'd expect when you get a pair of headphones, you've got to buy your own proper carrying case, and you'll also have to buy a separate audio cable if you want to use these headphones with a wired connection. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of the AirPods Max. Nonetheless, if you want to pick either of these two headphones up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch shelf down below. I've made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I can be very particular. So I'll only set my name on something that I'm really proud of. Now first, let's talk about these cases. Now this is one of the first things that I really dislike about the AirPods Max. They don't actually come included with a proper case. So personally, I don't think that these are the best headphones if you plan on traveling, because you're going to be worried about damaging these headphones if you have them in your carry-on. Whereas with the PX7 S2s, these come included with a very high quality and very stiff case. So these headphones are going to be perfectly safe if you throw them into your backpack. My only complaint here is that this case is a little on the larger side. Now this case isn't as large as the Sony XM5's case, but it is noticeably larger than your XM4's case and Bose QC45's case. Nonetheless, the PX7 S2s come included with a very premium feeling case, whereas the AirPods Max don't, and I do think this is rather ridiculous given their retail price. But now let's talk about the headphones themselves. Now both of these headphones have more premium build quality and more premium material choices than your standard pair of headphones, and for some people that could be a big deal. With the PX7 S2s, we've got a mix of fabric on the ear cups and headband. We've got some beautiful looking brushed metal arms on the headband, and we've got some great feeling leatherette on both the headband and ear pads. Whereas with the AirPods Max, these headphones also have very premium build quality but very different material choices. Now the headband has this mesh canopy which is very breathable and very comfortable. The headband is also wrapped in silicone. We've got chrome on the arms of this headband, and we've got these huge aluminum ear cups, and we've got these fabric ear pads. Overall, both of these headphones feel very premium in your hands. However, when it comes to comfort, the PX7 S2s easily outclass the AirPods Max. For starters, there are the ear pads on these headphones. Yeah, they're both fairly spacious, but the fabric earpads on the AirPods Max are very coarse. So I found that these earpads can get very itchy at times. Whereas itchy earpads aren't an issue for the PX7 S2s because this leatherette is very soft and it's very supple. My only complaint about the earpads on the PX7 S2s is that they can get a little warm after a while, because they do have a considerable amount of surface area coming in contact with your skin. Whereas the earpads on the AirPods Max are much more breathable. But also, as a side note, the earpads on both of these headphones are easily removable, which is nice. However, with the PX7 S2s, these earpads are clip-on, whereas the earpads on the AirPods Max are magnetic. Now, I don't expect you to constantly remove your earpads, but this was a note that I wanted to point out. But returning to the topic of comfort, another reason why I find the PX7 S2s are more comfortable than the AirPods Max is simply their weight. The PX7 S2s weigh in at 307 grams. Now, this is a little heavier than your more popular ANC headphones, like the Bose NC700s, which weigh in at 264 grams, which is a little below average. The Sony XM4s, which weigh in at 254 grams, and the Sony XM5s, which weigh in at 250 grams, which are relatively lightweight, and the Bose QC45s, which weigh in at 234 grams, which is super lightweight. But then there are the AirPods Max, which weigh in at a whopping 384 grams, which is a lot. Now, with the PX7 S2s, these are a pair of headphones that you never really forget that you're wearing, even while you're sitting, and you're definitely going to notice them shifting around when you're walking around with them on. But they're doable. Whereas with the AirPods Max, these are a pair of headphones that you will never forget that you're wearing, and after a while, they do get uncomfortable because they apply a lot of pressure on the back of your neck. But finally, there's clamping force. The AirPods Max have a very firm fit to them, and they're borderline not big head approved. Now, the PX7 S2s also have a firmer fit to them, but they fit noticeably looser than the AirPods Max. And with the PX7 S2s, I can say that these are big head approved because I can wear them for hours on end without any problems. So overall, both of these headphones have very premium build quality and they are both using very premium materials. But when it comes to overall comfort, the PX7 S2s easily outperform the AirPods Max because they're lighter, they have a slightly looser fit, and their ear pads don't get itchy. But now let's talk about tech specs. Regarding battery life, this is an area where the PX7 S2s easily outperform the AirPods Max. Now, the PX7 S2s have an advertised battery life of 30 hours with their active noise cancellation turned on. And having an advertised battery life of 30 hours is a little above average for a pair of ANC headphones in mid-2022. And if you want to, you can always extend the battery life on these headphones by using them with their active noise cancellation turned off. Whereas with the AirPods Max, these headphones have an advertised battery life of 20 hours with their ANC turned on. Now, an advertised battery life of 20 hours is doable, but it is a little below average for a pair of premium ANC headphones in mid-2022. But my issue issue with the AirPods Max is their battery drain. With these headphones, if I put them away with like, let's say 80% battery, and then I come back a week later, they're down to like 50% battery. And this battery drain issue isn't an issue for the PX7 S2s and a lot of other headphones out there. Now, when it comes to Bluetooth connectivity, the PX7 S2s can be connected to any two Bluetooth devices at the same time, which is good if you're a power user. Whereas with the AirPods Max, thanks to the H1 chip, they can easily hot swap between any of your Apple devices just as long as you're signed into your iCloud account. However, if you're a power user with devices from different ecosystems, so let's say you like to switch it up, you have some few Apple devices and a few Windows machines, then the AirPods Max aren't as convenient as the PX7 S2s. Now, when it comes to overall performance, both of these headphones have zero latency across the board when watching movies or videos on your phone, whether you're using an iPhone or any edge device. But when it comes to audio codecs, the AirPods Max only have support for SBC and AAC, a very standard stack. Regardless, AAC is going to work perfectly fine whether you're an iPhone or an Android user. However, the PX7 S2s do have support for higher quality audio codecs. Now, the PX7 S2s have support for SBC and AAC, just like the AirPods Max, but they also have support for aptX, aptX HD, and aptX Adaptive. However, if you do want to take advantage of aptX, you do have to be an Android user because iPhones top out at AAC. But if you want to, you can use either of these two headphones with a wired connection. Now, neither of these two headphones have an audio jack. However, with the PX7 S2s, you can use their USB-C port as a wired connection. Now, you can either use their included USB-C to USB-C cable, or you can use their included USB-C to audio jack cable. And the fact that the PX7 S2s come included with this USB-C to audio jack cable is why I'm not upset that the PX7 S2s don't have an audio jack. Whereas with the AirPods Max, you have to use their Lightning to audio jack cable. But unlike with the PX7 S2s, which come included with their USB-C to audio jack cable, the AirPods Max don't come included with this Lightning to audio jack cable. And this is why I'm so upset that the AirPods Max don't have an audio jack. Apple is more than happy to charge you extra to use a basic feature like a wired connection with their AirPods Max. But now let's talk about actually listening to music with these headphones. Now, both the AirPods Max and PX7 S2s are great sounding headphones, and they both sound much better than your more popular options like the Sony 1000 XM5s, XM4s, Bose NC700s, or Bose QC45s. Both the AirPods Max and PX7 S2s have far better instrument separation than all of these other headphones. But personally, I feel the PX7 S2s sound a little more balanced than the AirPods Max because I can't help but feel that the AirPods Max have a little more emphasis on the treble than the PX7 S2s. But the biggest difference between these two headphones is going to be the bass. The bass on the PX7 S2s is mostly on the audible side, and in general, the PX7 S2s are mainly meant for someone who likes a more neutral or vocals-focused EQ. Whereas with the AirPods Max, they have more physicality in their bass. So these will rattle your head somewhat. Now, with the PX7 S2s, you can go in and adjust their EQ to your liking. And if you wish to raise their bass, these will rattle your head a little bit, but these still won't rattle your head as much as the AirPods Max. Nonetheless, I really enjoy the PX7 S2s, but I do feel the AirPods Max sound a little better than the PX7 S2s. These sound a little more open, and plus they have that kick in their bass, which I like, because it makes listening to music with the AirPods Max more fun. But still, the PX7 S2s are a pair of great sounding headphones. The only thing is, these are better suited for someone who likes a more neutral EQ. If you want your head to shake, these ain't it. Now, when it comes to media controls, both of these headphones are using physical buttons. The AirPods Max have their crown, whereas the PX7 S2s have your more conventional 3-button layout. However, something the AirPods Max have over the PX7 S2s is Hey Siri support, so you can control your media playback and do a lot more without even to have to touch the headphones themselves, just as long as you're using an iPhone. Now, both of these headphones have wear sensors, so they'll both automatically pause your music when you take them off, and then when you put them back on, they'll start playing your music again. However, the problem with the wear sensors on the PX7 S2s is that first off, they're a lot slower to react than the wear sensors found on the AirPods Max. But also, with these wear sensors, I've noticed that they will randomly pause my music even when I'm just sitting still. Now, I've already tried using the different sensitivity levels on these wear sensors, but I'm still having this issue. However, I do hope that Bowers & Wilkins will be able to fix this issue through a firmware update, because this isn't something that's new for them. But now let's talk about the active noise cancellation on these headphones. Now, the PX7 S2s block out a decent amount of noise for a pair of premium ANC headphones in 2022. However, the AirPods Max block out noticeably more noise, and up until the Sony 1000XM5s came out, they were the king of ANC. But so that you can see for yourself, we're going to jump into an ANC test. So like we have just seen, the PX7 S2s block out a decent amount of noise, but the AirPods Max do block out noticeably more noise. Now the AirPods Max brutally go after those constant low frequency sounds. That's why they do a really good job of blocking out road noise. But when it comes to blocking out chatter, yes, they still block out a lot of noise, but the Sony 1000XM5s do a better job of blocking out chatter than the AirPods Max because they do a better job of blocking out higher frequency sounds. Nonetheless, if you're trying to choose between the PX7 S2s and AirPods Max, and if ANC is very important to you, then you might be tempted to go with the AirPods Max, and you're not wrong. The only thing that you want to be mindful about the AirPods Max is that they have a lot of cabin pressure. For me, the AirPods Max have so much cabin pressure that they regularly give me headaches, and this increased cabin pressure on the AirPods Max does hurt them when it comes to overall comfort, something that the AirPods Max was already struggling with. And I'm just speaking in general now. If you want to block out the absolute most amount of noise, then you might want to go with the Sony 1000XM5s because these things block out a little more noise than the AirPods Max with a little less cabin pressure. Or if you're looking for a pair of ANC headphones to mostly travel with, then I highly recommend the Bose QC45s. These things block out almost as much noise as the AirPods Max and Sony 1000XM5s, but more importantly, they have less cabin pressure. But also, they're super comfortable for long flights and they have a very small case. But next up, let's talk about the ambient modes on these headphones. Now, both of these headphones have an ambient mode, which is good. However, the ambient mode on the AirPods Max sounds much more clear than the ambient mode found on the PX7 S2s. Seriously, activating the ambient mode on the AirPods Max sounds like not having headphones on at all. I've never tried another pair of headphones whose ambient mode sounds this clear. But the thing that I don't like about the ambient modes on either of these two headphones is that you can't adjust it. And I also don't like that neither of these two headphones have a conversation mode, which will allow you to quickly talk to someone without having to take your headphones off, like you can with, like, let's say, the Bose NC700s. So, like you just saw with the Bose NC700s, at the press of a button, they'll lower the volume of your music and pump in all of the ambient sound around you, so they can quickly talk to someone without having to remove your headphones. And when you press any button, they'll go back to normal. And if you're a constant commuter or flyer, this feature can be very helpful. And I really wish both the AirPods Max and PX7 S2s had this feature, because this is a very common feature now on headphones that have an ambient mode. But finally, here's the microphone test. Now, both of these headphones have really good sounding microphones on them. However, while in a quiet room, I do prefer the AirPods Max because they do sound a little louder than the PX7 S2s. And when it comes to blocking out noise pollution, both of these headphones do a really good job of blocking out this road noise while still keeping my voice front and center. Because for comparison's sake, if we were to switch over to my lapel microphone, you're going to clearly hear all of this road noise. But if we were to switch back over to the AirPods Max, it is severely reduced. Now, the PX7 S2s are also doing a really good job of blocking out this road noise and keeping my voice front and center. However, the PX7 S2s are letting in a little bit more road noise. But when it comes to blocking out chatter, I feel the PX7 S2s are doing a slightly better job than the AirPods Max here. Because with the AirPods Max, sometimes certain higher pitched sounds do manage to get in. Regardless, both of these headphones sound really good, and both of these headphones do a really good job of dealing with noise pollution. But with all that being said, the Bowers & Wilkins PX7 S2s aren't for everyone, and they aren't the most feature-packed headphones out there. And if active noise cancellation is your top priority, then you might want to look elsewhere. However, the PX7 S2s offer a very premium build quality, and their elegance is going to make them stand out. Plus, these headphones offer incredible instrument separation, and if you want, you can raise the bass on these a little bit and get a fun listening experience out of them. And when compared to the AirPods Max, these are way more comfortable because of their lighter weight, slightly looser fit, and their earpads don't get itchy. Also, they have far better battery life, they come included with a proper case for traveling, and they aren't upcharging you if you want to use them with an audio jack. Ultimately, even though there are some aspects about the AirPods Max that I like, overall, it is very hard for me to recommend or justify getting the AirPods Max. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit the like button and get subscribed. If you want to pick any of the products up, they'll be linked down below. And if you want to further support the channel, check out the merch. I made some shirts and hoodies that look and feel great. And you know I can be very particular, so I'll only slap my name on something if I'm really proud of it.